What's up, mortgage coach community? Dave Savage. I am coming live. Where am I? I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona. A little bit of a different trip for me. I am hanging out with one of my lifetime best friends, and we're calling it a Bro Summit. So we picked out a really cool Airbnb, and we're playing golf, playing games, and having a good time. Shayla Gifford, it's always a gift when I get to get you on the Mortgage Coach channel. Where are you at?
I'm in Spain, southern Spain.
Love it. Living life large. Anybody who has followed Mortgage Coach, has followed Shayla Gifford, you know what an icon she is in the industry. Not only has she built an amazing team, not only is she a coach, she's a coach of the coach. And then she's built a mortgage practice where, she can move and she's got a team that can run production and make things happen. So I think, Shayla, is it safe to assume, most of your job now is it's coaching, it's leading, whether you're leading realtors, you're leading your team, and you're leading a bunch of other loan officers.
Yeah, I create the strategy, the vision, and all the coaching in between. So that's a fair assessment, right on the money.
All right, guys. So it is February 2nd of 2022. And I don't know if you agree with this, Shayla, but I think every lead, every loan, every basis point matters more than it has in the past 2 years. I don't want to do like ever, although I do think maybe it is forever, but definitely when you think of the past 2 years, we just need to be sharper. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, 1000%. I think right now we all need business. We all built these fabulous teams over the last 2 years. We paid recruiters a lot of money. We poured our hard-earned time and energy and sweat into building new mortgage professionals. And we all want to keep these teams intact as best as we possibly can. And we know with refinances dropping, predicted 60%, yet purchase market going into the biggest purchase market in history and growing by 10% this year. It's going to be a definite change of a year. It's going to be a battle. In fact, I call it the war. We must transition. And so we've got to find opportunities to sharpen our tools and improve at every step of the way.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Why don't you describe the business as you see it today? Because I'm hearing in the market, while that shift is happening, we're also seeing an increased amount of rate shopping, that realtors are more recruitable than ever. So, not only do you need to protect your current agents, but it is a great time to go out and recruit agents. If you could just share your color in the market as you're sharing it with your team and the loan officers that you mentor and lead.
Well, I think everybody's afraid right now. I think there's a lot of fear with what are the Feds going to do, where are interest rates going. The fact that just in the last 5 months, we've seen the interest rate on a 30-year fix go up basically a full 1%, is a lot, right? And in the last month, in the last 30 days, we probably saw a 0.5 point increase. For businesses like mine, I've got probably 100 customers that are building a new home and are not locked because literally with subcontractor delays and supply chain shortages and everything else, you have no idea if that house is going to take 4 months or 8 months. So everybody's got fear. When the consumer has fear, the realtor definitely has fear as well. And I think it's just natural, Dave. I don't know about you, but every first quarter of the year, I just feel this like ramping up because we all started over at a big fat zero, including all the realtors and the loan officers. So I think it's always a great time to build business with real estate agents. I don't know if there's ever a better time than others, except when everybody's got their eye off the ball. But I will tell you, I think, rates are compressing, margins are compressing. Everybody's fighting for a smaller pie. Call centers are doing wild things. I know people in the broker space that are doing wild things that may or may not be above board, and we're having to compete, and it's not really apples for apples at times. So bottom line is you got to have a plan, you got to have a playbook, and you got to execute it consistently. One of my favorite sayings is the best business is a boring business. One of my builders just chewed out my team captain last week. because he's like, look, my sales agents in the community don't know your team. That is your fault and you're bad. And I was like, shit. Well, that's why we do these calls every single Monday. And if you do them every single Monday, even if you're not out face-to-face, even if it is COVID, you don't get that far from the relationship. So there's a reason why on Monday, we call realtors every single Monday. And on Tuesday, we do Tuesday updates. And on Wednesday, we review our lead tracker for the last 90 days and make sure that we're pulling every string we can to convert. And on Thursdays, we're calling all of our TBDs and hot shoppers, right? And if you just do those simple routines consistently, you'll be able to shine in most cases. So, what I really want to talk about, Dave, is just some mortgage coach strategies that we're using that I don't want anybody to forget about. And then also how you create your process and be able to connect the dots to an agent. Because the problem is, I think a lot of loan officers assume that eventually the realtor will figure out that they are reliable, that they are thorough, that they are great at selling the agent. They hope that they will figure out over time that I'm really good. But hope is not a strategy. And you don't know if they're that perceptive or not. Maybe they have nothing to compare it to. So you have to be able to articulate, here's what I do and why it matters to you. So if that's okay, those are the things that I'm excited about today.
So I am excited to hear those things. We did get quite a little audience in the Mortgage Coach Facebook group. So guys, if there are questions you have for Shayla or me, put those in comments below. And even if you're watching the recording of this in YouTube, post the call, put the questions that you have. Also, if there are some things that you want to validate that Shayla says, like, oh, I'm doing that too, share it. And so, yeah, let's go. If you could, I would almost ask you, pretend that this Mortgage Coach audience is our loan officers that are on your own team, and you're providing those Mortgage Coach strategies and those leaderships like you're talking to your own crew. So let's roll. Hear what you got.
It's my favorite spot to be in. Okay, so guys, want to dust out from under the bed, wherever you've forgotten or used this strategy or not, is the debt consolidation strategy inside of Mortgage Coach. Obviously, there's still a lot of refinance opportunity. I believe if you're not at least a 70-30 mix, then it means you're completely ignoring your database. Okay, so a lot of people run around touting, I'm 98% purchase. That's great, but I think it means that you're ignoring your past customers. And if you said, I'm going to be your lender for life, then you're not really doing that and following through. So people need a refinance for a lot more reasons than just a lower rate. You've got people that have run up debt, have got medical issues, got a divorce, all kinds of things going on. So we need to be paying attention to our database, doing the analytics and figuring out where we can help people out. But this Mortgage Coach opportunity with debt consolidation, where you can actually list out every single debt and what those payments are and what the new payments look like, and of course, put it over time on a TCA, it's mind-blowing. People don't have this financial education. People don't sit down on their kitchen table once a month generally and fill out a budget and write their financial goals over the next 5 years. They're literally just barely surviving, running breakneck speed, sitting in traffic and trying to be cool on Instagram in between. And they need us. This is why we're professionals that can help lay out a plan. So pull that strategy out. One of my girls, Jackie, just landed a refinance that had already been quoted by an online lender. And they just did a basic breakdown for him over email. And he was so blown away by her Mortgage Coach TCA on the debt consolidation. He said, you're my girl, I'm in. And you hear these stories over and over and over again. So why are we not absolutely taking that to heart and doing it every time? I'm sure if you're watching this and you're in the Mortgage Coach Mastermind group, you're not the average LO, but I promise you, we all get lazy, we all get soft, and we forget about things. So that's the first reminder I have for you.
So before you go past that, I want everybody to really take in what Shayla said. And I think it's this simple, that if you are not doing annual reviews, if you are not helping your customers look at their debt structures to help them build wealth with real estate faster, if you're not doing move up analysis, you are not a client for life loan officer, period. Yeah. Like actions speak louder than words. It may be on your business card. It may be part of your pitch, but it's not who you are. So I hope that sinks in for anyone. And here's the deal, guys. The world is changing, and it's changing fast. Big lenders are armed up. There's more public mortgage companies than ever. Big data is more accessible than ever. I believe if you want to be a client for life loan officer, you need big data. And hopefully you guys heard the press release recently that Mortgage Coach received an investment from LLR Partners, as well as Sales Boomerang did. And so one of the reasons why we were so excited at that is Sales Boomerang is they are the borrower intelligence platform in the industry. So we actually can now, through Mortgage Coach and Sales Boomerang, provide you with cash out refi alerts with the TCA. We can provide you with rate and term refi alerts with the TCA. And so I really want to emphasize that if you want this decade in the mortgage business to be better than the last one, and if you just want to make it to June, you need to take what Shayla said much to heart. And if you have a team, make sure your team is staffed to do what Shayla just said. So anyways, love it. What's the next one?
Well, and that's an interesting thing, because I could hear people saying an excuse like, I need to be staffed, meaning, I need to have 3 extra people on my team. No, what you need to be is focused and say, this is the day of the week that I focus on past clients. And this is the way I can do it in a leveraged way, right? So you can build a generic debt consolidation TCA that is generic, and you can send it out to your entire database or to a specific group that is at such percentage or higher. And then next month you can build a TCA about move up and do that. I mean, there's so many things that you can do on a leverage basis that even if you don't have a team, there's just really no excuse. And it's about edutainment, as you branded, Dave, where you're educating and entertaining. And that's what's going to not only win you the past client deals, but also get them to refer you to their friends and family, because you're educating them. They feel confident, and they're educating others and inspiring others to make moves.
What do you one more thing I want to play off that. What do you think of this? That if you we call it TCA Tuesday. So every Tuesday is where you create a one-to-many TCA. And it could be a 3 to 5 minute bomb video. It could be a Facebook Live. Deborah Bird will say, do a Facebook Live because the algorithms like it. But if they just did a one-to-many Mortgage Coach, debt consol, move up buyer, do you think that would be a good idea?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially as a social media strategy. And so you're kind of throwing that out into your sphere and the ecosystem. And it's, I look at Instagram, Facebook, that is your business card. So when somebody refers you, they're going to go look you up. And I tell you, I've gotten stuck looking at people on Instagram and spent 45 minutes and going all the way down the rabbit hole. And you better believe there's a lot of customers that do that, because the way in which those algorithms are put together, it has encouraged people to just stay there for a really long time. It's too easy for them not to. So it doesn't have to be right into this moment. It's just good education that you can do over and over again.
Pablo, what's up? He said, love Dave Savage and Shayla. Become a client for life loan officer. Remember, guys, if you have questions, put them down below. And what's next, Shayla?
All right. So what is it that realtors don't want? Like, what is their biggest fear? Number one, they don't want to look like a fool. Okay. They just don't want to be caught off guard because their client is now telling them bad news about something in the transaction, or the listing agent is calling them with some bad news, but they were the last to know. So remember that your first and foremost priority, your realtor, is the client. That is the person who's running side by side with you through this transaction, through this goal. And if you aren't back to back and getting them in the loop and updating them at all times, it's the number one reason that agents freak out. They want to be seen as the expert and the professional that they are, but if they don't know something, they can't help, and they certainly don't want to look like a fool. So that's why Tuesday update calls are really important and again, whatever day of the week you choose, but you want to call every listing agent, every buyer's agent, and every buyer and let them know what's going on weekly. If you don't do that proactively, then I promise you what your day looks like is just a barrage of stuff. Okay. And I know that because my first 6 years in the business, I showed up and I was just reacting to everything. I had one phone at a year, another one on speaker. I'm responding to emails in 5 seconds. And I go home at the end of the day and go, what just happened? Day in and day out. So when I started proactively telling a borrower and an agent, I'm going to call you every week on this day with an update so you always know where you stand. And of course, I'm going to call the buyer's agent first. I want them to know what the update is going to be. And of course, if there's any bad news, I'm going to call immediately. I'm not waiting until that update. So the second thing is they don't want to lose their commission. They're afraid of handing that referral to somebody that could blow it. And guys, I mean, the median home price in Reno, Nevada is now $545,000. So it's just mind blowing what's happened. I used to say that was their $5,000 commission. Now it's like, that is their $15,000 commission. There's more and more realtors. So what I'm seeing is agents generally aren't doing more transactions. They're just doing more volume. So guess what? Each transaction carries even more weight. You know, it's so valuable. And if you really went back and looked at your price of every lead, if you looked at how much business that you closed last year and you divided out your commission and you divided out your number of leads, like every lead is worth a lot of money to you, but way more so to your realtor. So what does that mean? What about your process is going to help them not look like a fool, but also not lose a commission, right? How do you follow up? How often are you following up? How many times do you follow up before you give up? And then what do you do in your pre-approval meetings? And this is so critical. What do you do in your pre-approval meetings that really educates that buyer, that advises them on a strategy, that creates urgency so that that buyer is immediately back with that agent focused and knows where to go and they're getting in contract? That is how we add real value to the agent, is in this pre-approval meeting, accomplishing those things. And then also, are you making sure that you're squeezing every drop of juice? Are you thinking of every strategy that you could to help these guys know what their max is? Because in this market, a lot of times people are having to go to a max or they're having to go above their budget. Again, if you're not educating and coming up with all those strategies and letting the buyers know and letting the realtor know, then oftentimes they will walk into an open house, meet another agent who refers them to their other lender who uses Mortgage Coach and is creative and thoughtful and educates. And they go, oh, I didn't think I could do that. And boom, agent lost the commission and you lost the deal, and maybe the agent for good as well. So think about your process and what you do in your pre-approval meetings and how that helps assure that if a realtor is going to put their neck on the line and they're going to refer you strongly, that you're going to do everything in your power, that if this is a buyer that is going to close, that you're going to protect that realtor's commission and have their back and do whatever to make that happen quicker, easier, and smoother for them. Okay. And then the third thing is they don't want to lose.
Well, before we go off of that, so one idea I had, and I wanted to see what you think about it, is what if, because Tuesday, it's a Tuesday update where you're calling realtors on Tuesdays, right? So what if you did a TCA one-to-many on Tuesday morning? You know, you could do it the week before, have it batched, have it scheduled. So it's not like, you know, you come in and it's calling realtors, but you make sure that you've got something hitting your social media that is talking about how you're educating families and how you're delivering this TCA, so that you could just weave that in when it makes sense to weave it in. You kind of like got the Air Force, which is your social media TCA, and then you've got the Army where you're talking to them and you're updating on transactions. What do you think of that idea?
I think it's great. I think there's marketing and messaging, and then there's, like you said, there's blocking and tackling, like the stuff that you're doing on a day-to-day basis to communicate and make things run smoothly. Because doing the TCA Tuesday is what's going to keep the doors open, because you're always prospecting for more business. Holding the transaction together and doing a great job there is going to earn you more business from referrals to that client, that realtor. So you've got to be doing both. You can't say it's one or the other. You've got to be spinning both plates.
Yeah, I'm just thinking it's good timing the day that you're actually talking to the most agents with, and they're going to take your calls because you're giving updates on deals. If you just happen to have something that was on point in social media that day. Okay, cool. So let's get that third one. Sorry for cutting you off. I just wanted to get your feedback on that.
Yeah, I think also the unconscious fear of a realtor is that buyer has a bad experience and won't be a future referral source for them. Either that buyer will write a bad review, or that buyer may badmouth them inside of their community, at their job or church or wherever this realtor maybe had made some headway. Or they just had a mediocre, satisfactory experience that they're not going to remember and they're not going to refer. So I don't know how many realtors voice that up front, but if I'm working with a realtor, I'm going to say, look, after meeting with hundreds of realtors over the last decade, here's what I know. You don't want to feel like a fool. You don't want to, risk losing your commission. You don't want to risk losing referral opportunities, and you don't want to waste time. And your choice in who you work with as a loan officer, as a lender partner, should absolutely help eliminate and alleviate those issues. And so I wanted to talk to you about my process because I take this very seriously and I want to really build a business and be a true value add. So here's what I do, bum, 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 bum. So, in terms of referrals, I mean, the TCA and the pre-approval meeting, I think that's where people decide on, are they going to work with you or not? Does this person know what the heck they're doing? Are they going to advocate for me? Are they going to help me win the offer? Are they going to call the listing agent? Are they going to do an appraisal gap strategy if we're writing over appraisal asking, what is this loan officer going to do to help me? That's what the buyer's really choosing. Yes, you might still have some buyers that have this great meeting with you and will shop you once they're in contract. But I guarantee if you had a really good meeting there and you did what you do, it's going to be a far smaller number because people by and large are relationship people and they don't want to risk a deal closing for maybe a little bit cheaper price. They want the assurity, the psychological safety of working with an expert who's going to get it done. And then finally is just wasting time. I think we're loan officers where we blow it for agents all the time is that we don't do a really good thorough analysis up front. We don't do that educational meeting. The buyers get mixed or unclear messages. So they leave our office, which by the way, I'm telling every one of our loan officers, every one of you've got to be meeting with your customers face-to-face. Okay. I don't care that we're in 2022 or it's still COVID. We are out of a refi boom. There is not deals falling from the sky. We've gotten lazy. We need to go back and offer people only two options that both include a face-to-face. The next step is, that's the best words. So the next step is we need to do a full pre-approval. I'm going to go over all the strategies that you have on the ways that you can buy a home, what your payments look like, what this will cost you over time, how much money you need. So we either need to meet face-to-face in my office, belly to belly, old school, or we can meet virtually on Zoom, which is better for you. A or B. Every loan officer I interviewed this past week said, well, I definitely meet them face-to-face if I know they're shopping me. Okay, when I meet them face-to-face, I tend to find that things just go better. They're smoother. When I meet them face-to-face, I tend to not do any shortcuts because I do the work when the client is with me. So my question to my loan officer is like, okay, if that's what you do to win deals when they're on the edge, why wouldn't you do that every single time? Why wouldn't you set yourself up to win every single time and do the most preferred strategy? Okay, so let's get back to the face-to-face, belly-to-belly, Zoom. It's just no other option. It's A or B. But in that pre-approval consultation, if you are laser clear with people, which is why giving them a TCA after the meeting, before the meeting, however it goes, that's finalized with what you discussed, and a video that finalizes what you discussed, and you copy the agent on that follow-up meeting everybody is crystal clear on what you talked about. Do they need seller concessions? Do they have the down payment saved up yet? Do they need a gift? What needs to happen to make this happen? Because if buyers are unclear, they're going to take way longer to make a decision, or they might write offers on properties that they can't afford, and then deals fall out. Hence, the agents waste time. So the moral to the story in all of this, Dave, is that many of us do all of these things already. Many of us have a really good pre-approval process. Many of us have a really solid follow-up. Hopefully you're all using a really solid technology, CRM, Salesforce, and you're the modern loan officer, you're doing these things. But I guarantee most of us could tighten up how we sell that, how we connect the dots for the agents and what they really care about, what matters to their business. I promise you that next flyer or, bank statement loan or whatever, it's just a chasing this next sparkly thing. It's these things. It's how you show up Monday through Friday, week in and week out, and how you practice that makes all the difference for the agents. And you've got to be able to articulate that.
So guys, we got so many good ideas. I do want to emphasize when we opened it up, we talked about a client for life strategy, but I'm going to say it. I say this almost every year in January. Your perfect borrower conversation and the experience that you create, the client for life experience that you create for a client is your most valuable strategy. If you're going out there and you're doing those annual reviews for debt consol, for move up, you know what you're going to get? You're going to get leads. You're going to get referrals. And that is pure gold. It's gold for you because these are incremental loans that you're building through your own platform. And they're also loans and leads that you can bring to agents. So everything that Shayla has talked about, it's if you want to crush it in 2022 with a pure purchase business, there is a time to work that database. Remember, have great intelligence. If you don't have sales boomerang, you want to learn about it, let me know, Dave at Mortgage Coach. But then when it comes to the realtor experience, you need to deliver amazing experience. So I want to just give a couple taking action notes, and feel free to pile on here, Shayla. So first of all, if you haven't listened to some of my past interviews with Shayla or some of her presentations, this Shayla Gifford's perfect pre-approval experience, it was the #1 video 2 years ago. So out of all the content we have in our YouTube channel, Shayla took the #1 spot and beat out Scriptapalooza. Right? Shayla's competitive. She likes that. In last year's Modern Mortgage Summit, her keynote on the modern, she upgraded the modern pre-approval experience. I mean, it's like 18 minutes. It's like a TED Talk, and it's just gold. And it was Shayla on stage doing a TED Talk for the industry. She did something that was a little leaner, 6 minutes, and it was about how she's using the cost of waiting analysis. And then I love this 20-minute chat we had a year ago around just leadership and management routine. So if you're new, guys, those are required. But if you haven't watched them, I would highly recommend it. Also, we've upgraded our website. If you are a leader, and I tried to make, my whole philosophy in business and sales and marketing is to turn sales and marketing into a valuable service that has tangible value. To create sales and marketing that has so much tangible value, people would pay you money for it. I believe our YouTube channel, if I decided to turn that into, a monetization strategy, people would pay for it. It is so valuable, people would pay for it. And I take that same philosophy to our training. And so now we have live training every single day of the week. On Mondays, if you're a white belt and you're not even an orange belt, do this. Every Tuesday, I bring in people like Shayla and some of the best loan officers in America. You need to sign up every week. So, you're not getting spammed. If you signed up one time, we used to make it that, hey, we're going to tell you about it every day. Now you have to sign up. I used to call this training our black belt training, but our training team decided, you know what, these are just mortgage strategies. We're teaching mortgage strategies. So every Wednesday, we're teaching mortgage strategies. Every Thursday, think of this as like the genius, at Apple Store, the genius desk. I've got a mortgage coach, success manager, genius answering questions. And then every Friday, it's masterminding. So I just want to push everybody in the mortgage coach community, I love when we were prepping Shayla, you said like, this is a year to get down to the basics. You know, like I don't know that anything Shayla shared or that we talked about was like, that's a new idea. But,
yeah.
but like, you know what? Are you doing it? You know, are you doing annual reviews? Are you focused on your realtors' pain points and making sure that you're building conversations around how you're proactively solving those? So Shayla, any closing thoughts before we wrap it up? I mean, this has been a great call, but anything you want to close on?
Just don't make this the year where you said, gosh, I should be doing that, right? This is the year where you said, I'm doing it, because implementation will always win. Even if you take some of, you know, the verbiage that I used and said, you don't want to be a fool, you don't want to lose your commission, and you can't remember anything else, but you just start being more bold, more direct, more systematized, using these strategies, investing your time and learning and doing it. Just don't make this the year that you said, I should be doing that. There's just no time for that. This will be the year that weeds people out, that is too tough, that's too emotional, that people are not going to feel good, the battle and the war that are out there. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of people that get high on this stuff, that this is when it gets fun, that the last 2 years have been just like deadening inside because they haven't had that opportunity. And so for all of you that need to tighten it up, and guess what? That's all of us. Let's stop saying should, let's make it happen.
So one closing thought I have, Shayla made me think about it. And the week between Christmas and New Year's, I always come out with, hey, what are the top 10 videos at Mortgage Coach? And I also try to think about, like, you know, what were the trends last year, and what are going to be those mega trends for this year? And I want to highlight the 3 mega trends that I called out this year. Is we're going to continue to see the, you know, number 1 trend, video and digital platforms win. So that's still there. But check this out, guys. This blew my mind. And I track how many loan officers do over 300 loans a year. And in 2020, there were 3,566 teams that did over 300 loans. And by the way, that was mind-boggling. Like, that was a massive increase over the years prior. Well, guys, in 2021, it increased by 75%. There are 6,305 teams in America doing over 300 loans. So what's that tell you? You know what that tells? I know what that tells me. That leaders, good leaders that use technology, CRM, Mortgage Coach, and they're taking market share away from loan officers that are not delivering consistent, amazing experiences. So big tech is here, and teams are taking market share, and you get to choose, guys. You're watching this video. Who do you want to be? You know, do you want to be the one who's killing it? Because it's going to be even bigger next year. I guarantee you, even if we have a down market, that number is going to grow, because when you use tech, when you're a great leader, good things happen. So Shayla, thank you for making time to come in and lead in the Mortgage Coach community. You are awesome. Little virtual knuckles. All right. Hope we get to do that in person at your sales rally this year. Are you going to fly back for the?
Yep, I'll be in Vegas. Yep.
Yeah, Barry reached out, so I'll be speaking at that. So I look forward to seeing you in real world. Anyone tuning into this, make sure you subscribe to the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel. So go to Mortgage Coach on YouTube, subscribe, be active in our group. I'm grateful for you. Have an awesome day, and this is a wrap.